Welcome back, everyone. I'm here at home, sitting in my bee turf, which is awesome. All the clover and yarrow have flowered. And today we're going to show you the grow-out pens for the Coturnix quail that I'm raising. So I've got 12 quail. The hope is to raise them for food. In particular, I'm mainly focused on the eggs. I think I've got a lot of female birds in this lot, but I'm not 100% sure. So come on, we'll head into the garage. We'll take a look at their new setup. They've changed a lot in the last week, and we'll talk about the setup and how I clean them out. Let's go. So last time you left us, the birds were in a Rubbermaid tub, and now they've moved to the grow-out area. So this is it's a rabbit hutch. It's a 2-level rabbit hutch, and it's about 4.5 feet long, about 13 inches tall at each section of the cage. So that's about 13 inches, and to the back, I believe it's about 18 inches or so. So with quail, you don't want a very tall cage for them. It should be less than 24 inches actually, less than that, because what happens is if they're ever startled, they shoot straight up with a great amount of speed and they snap their necks and they take all the feathers and skin off the top of their head. So if you're going to have them in an outdoor flight pen, typically you've got to be over 6 feet tall, or if they're in these kind of cages, something under 24 inches so that they can't, I mean, they could get up and pop their head this way, but it's not going to be with such a speed that they're going to like snap their neck and die. So yeah, so they're quite happy. They're ground birds. They don't fly very far anyways. So, I mean, sometimes you'll see them kind of flapping their wings as they walk around and they get a little bit of air. But you know, they're quite content to be pecking around at this. So you can see there's 2 compartments right here, and I've actually modified this rabbit hutch. So we've got a door here. It's like a wire door, so it's perfect for access there. And eventually when they lay eggs, the eggs are going to go on this wire. Well, this wire setup did not come with the rabbit hutch. It actually came with just this part here, which is the tray. So the tray I have for their poop, and I'm going to, you know, rewind a little bit in a few moments in this video, and I'll show you what it looks like before I clean this pen. I actually just finished cleaning it out. Yeah, so it's nice. You can take this out and clean it and push it back, and the birds aren't on their poop. What we did here was made just a wire bottom grate for them to sit on. This is 1/4-inch hardware cloth, and you can see the frame there. It's just regular pine, and it actually rests on, see a little piece of wood at the back, and there is a screw right here. You can see right there in the corner. Whoop, right down there. So there's a screw in the corner that it rests on. And there's a very, very, very slight incline forward on that. And so if they lay their eggs, they're going to roll forward. And instead of having to reach my whole arm in there to get them, which I can do, the eggs will kind of roll towards the front, and I can go through the door here or here to collect them. Over here in the corner is a little quiet area for the birds that I have for their enrichment and their dust bath. So here they can get off the wire and they can go onto this blue paper towel again. There's pine shavings and diatomaceous earth, so very important for lice control, and they love it. They like to scratch around in the shavings and get their feathers all dusted up. On the top is a solid roof, and it can be screwed on. I leave it unscrewed so I can kind of work away in here if necessary. If you were outside, obviously you'd want to have this screwed down because predators can pry that right open. I mean, I'm sure they can pry open anything on this rabbit hutch and get in at the birds. But I find it's more secure. You definitely want it off the ground so that, you know, less attractive for other animals to crawl in. I might actually put this on wheels in a little bit, just so that I can kind of move it around. I haven't decided if I want to have them outside at some point. Right now we're in the middle of a massive heat wave. I haven't had the lamp on them actually in the last 3 to 4 days. I know some people keep the lamp on them until they're about a month old, but they're really fully feathered right now. And you know, the weather's been about 30, 33 degrees Celsius outside with, you know, 60 to 70% humidity. So I'm worried about them getting overheated. So I have my thermometer to check on the temperature. And you know what? They've been hanging out at, you know, 25, 26 Celsius in here, even a little bit lower, and it's not too bad. So I do check on them, but I haven't had to use the heat lamp in 3 or 4 days. So in the tray I am using, as you can see, the pine shavings you get from any sort of farm store or pet store or whatever. I think I may actually switch to kitty litter, the ones that's kind of clumping, that I can scoop the little poops away, because it is a lot of compost that's generated, and that's fine if you want. I mean, these guys, the poop they generate is extremely high in nitrogen. You have to compost it first before using it. So yeah, it's fine to have the shavings with them. It's great for composting, but if you don't want to do that, You may want to do a little kitty litter so you can kind of not dump out as much of the, you know, the substrate that they poop on. You can just, you know, scoop out the little poop nuggets. Oh, hello, kind of looking at me from their little roosting area in there. Yeah, so let's rewind a bit. I want to show you how a setup like this is cleaned. Now this is just kind of like a routine cleaning that I'm going to show you. Once a month I'm probably going to do a big power wash and disinfection of this unit, but daily I inspect to see what I have to clean. Definitely daily water and food, and I check the trays to see if they're getting really full, stinky, and then I'll clean them out. So let's rewind a bit and I'll show you how I cleaned out the hutches. You know, and one thing about the birds is that after a day, this has changed 24 hours ago, look how much feces is in the bottom of the trays. So about to change it out now, and so there's a reason to keep them on the wire. It keeps them way above their mess so they don't get it on their feet and get infections. When I'm transferring the birds during cleaning, when I can move them into this lower pen, Royce makes sure they don't get out. Oh, look, he's pecking his face. So now I have them transferred to the bottom cage. I'm going to clean the top cage out, so super handy. And you can see they're already kind of exploring the new cage. It's basically the same as the top cage. I'm going to wash their water and their food containers because they, you know, they like to poop in things. And there's some already poking around here in their little enrichment area. I find the little Italian Manchurians super friendly, really easy to handle. Some of the wild type I find are a little bit more highly strung, but they all transfer really easily. They're not trying to fly away. They're not, you know, freaking out too badly. Like it literally takes me like less than 5 minutes to transfer these guys over to the new pen, and then I can take out the tray and the wire from the top cage. So see, they really love this spot. It's really important, I think, to have an area where they can kind of get off the wire, mess around a little bit. Quite often they'll roost in here, and they're going to mess around the diatomaceous earth and play in the shavings. Pretty soon I'll also put some oyster shell grit in there for them because they'll need that for their crops as they mature. Don't check them out. I can't believe how big they are in the last week. It's pretty incredible. So when I start cleaning the cages, I generally start by pulling out the trays. I've got my mask on for the dust and gloves, and I usually dump it into a tub and then into the compost. So I'll take the main tray outside, and then after, what I'm going to do is for the top cage, it's easy enough just to take the roof off of the cage, and then I'll actually remove the wire tray in there. It can actually be removed without doing, you know, taking the lid off, but today's cleanup, I had it set up a little bit differently. Now I've decided not to put those little dividers in there, so it makes it super easy to take out the water and the bottom tray. Now I take out their wire platform. It can also come out through the opening where the tray was. I'll knock off any residue here and we'll take it outside. Next, I power wash both of them. I just got a regular garden hose handle on here, but you can power wash them really thoroughly to get off the heavy stuff. And then next what I do is I just put them out and spray them with 3% bleach solution. I make sure to spray all surfaces. If it's sunny out, I'll leave it in the sun to dry. You want to make sure it's completely dry before reassembling and putting it back into the rabbit hutch setup. And finally, I clean their food dish and top it up with some game bird starter, and then I get them some fresh water. Well, and here we're all set up again. I decided I'd put the water actually right here so I can grab it a little bit easier. You saw me struggling a bit earlier, but whoop, there it is. Clean that out a little bit more regularly. I'm gonna get a different watering system set up, so I'll show you guys that in a future video. Yeah, so you can definitely see there's a pecking order established. I missed getting it on camera, but this little dude over there, I don't know if it's male or female, it's getting pretty aggressive with the others. So if it wants to eat a particular spot, it will peck and you know, get the others to get away from it. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye. Pretty soon I'm gonna finish up their the sexing of the birds, and I'm gonna separate them into a couple of groups. Ideally I want male with several females. If there's many males, you don't want to stick them together because eventually they will start fighting. If there's any particularly aggressive birds, they're going to have to be isolated as well. So yeah, this one over here at the end that you can see they're eating pretty vigorously, it was getting pretty nasty. Just as soon as I put the feeder in. It's the first time I've actually seen the birds establish their pecking order. So that's another thing when you're getting new birds. Say I wanted to add birds to this little flock here. First off, you'd want to wait about 30 days because, you don't want to introduce infections and things like that. That's the recommendation for poultry, is to wait 30 days and isolate the new ones. But there is an established pecking order that they get. So if you introduce a new one, there is a possibility that they will fight with it. So you basically have to, if you're going to do that, if your 30 days are up, you would have to have the birds see each other, but not be in contact with each other, because they can just be ruthless with each other, and they can injure each other. So it's important to have a lot of enrichment for them, a lot of little feeding stations, and a big watering area. I'm going to have, I'm going to go to the red little bowl system. We're going to do gravity feed system using tubing. So that's, I've ordered that stuff, so that's coming. So that will give them a few more stations to go to, so that they're not always at one particular location. And last night they had a little bit of enrichment. I put in a couple of pieces of lettuce, and they had a lot of fun with that. So important to give them the enrichment, like I said earlier, with the they like to scratch the ground, with the diatomaceous earth and with the pine shavings to scritch around in, and then every now and then something interesting for them to poke at. The other day I gave a tiny little piece of watermelon, and they had a lot of fun with that too. So because they're babies, I'm not giving them too much of that stuff, because they still need their high protein chick food, obviously. But it's always nice to have something different to keep them occupied. You really don't want them to get bored and stressed and start pecking each other or ripping their hair out, well, not hair, but feathers out. That wouldn't be good at all. So you can see, speaking of enrichment, this is Royce's favorite thing, is to sit there and mentally herd the birds. And they're getting used to him. They aren't as frightened by him. It's important, you got to socialize the birds too, to going in and out of this area, like this insulated garage, and the dog and stuff like that, just being part of the regular daily. Royce, you make a better door than a window. So I mentioned sexing the birds. Many of them can be sexed by plumage alone, like their feathers. So this one right here has got the speckles on the chest. That's a female. The ones at the back, the one I'm kind of worried about, this one right there, that's a tuxedo. And that one cannot be feather sexed. It has to be vent sexed. And males have a little gland by their bum, the vent, and it excretes like a foamy substance. So I gotta kind of flip them over. I'll probably do that next week. I'll kind of flip them over and take a look down at the undercarriage and see what we've got going on. But the wild type here, if they've got these little speckles on the chest and no kind of red collar around their neck, they are female. So I've got quite a lot of females, actually. I think I have at least 8 females. Again, there's a tuxedo. I don't know if that's male or female. I also have to look at, that is a Tibetan at the back, actually. I've had that confirmed. I had someone give me some advice on that one. So that's a Tibetan, and I think I might vent sex that one too, because they're all kind of really dark colors, so super hard to tell. I think that one at the back, oh no, that's another, I think that's another tuxedo, but I'll have to find out, or a Rosetta, I don't know. All this quail genetics, if you guys are into quail, there's a lot of color genetics, and people really get into it. There's some beautiful colorations out there. There's even some silver ones and white ones and stuff like that too. Also heard of another one with a black coloration, but I think that one's a little bit overbred and has some health problems. So anyway, people will always, they can sell like different kinds of eggs with different, they'll basically give you different colors of quail. So they're super fun to look at. It's funny, I find the little wild type ones, sort of the original color, like the one you see walking in the front there, I find those ones a bit more skittish compared to the others, as I mentioned earlier. They all tend to clump together and they kind of run around if I go in there. But hopefully over time, they'll get more and more used to me. Another thing I want to show you are the leg bands. So I bought some leg bands for these guys just for identification purposes, especially, they all kind of look the same except for a few that have different colors. So I'm going to put a band on for the year, and also probably, find out if they're male or female. And yeah, so that they can be really spotted easily and the individuals can be identified. And maybe I'll do an extra, I don't know, an extra color in there on the one leg, just to identify individuals that are of the same color. Maybe they're the same gender too, so it'll be hard to tell the two apart. So these ones are touch big. I've got these ones, they're for chickens. They're 8mm. I think I probably need a 6mm. So they're just these little tiny bands that snap together, as you can see there. So for identification purposes, you can take them on, you can take them off, and you just kind of pop them together like that, and then you can kind of just pull them and they come apart. So I think I won't be doing that now, probably in the next couple weeks or so, but I've got them already. But I may have to get a smaller one, I don't know. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them down below in the comments. I hope you guys have a great week. As always, take care.